You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney theme parks podcast, and this is show number 349 for Sunday the 31st of January 2021.
Where dreams begin.
Hello, my name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Phipsy.
Hello there, Michelle, and how are we?
We are good. I have still managed all the way through January, touching wood, to get the year right.
Yeah, well, we'll get to about March, then we'll start saying it wrong, won't we? That's normally the case, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the funny thing was, I was watching a blog, a YouTube channel, I won't name them, of a Disney World news channel. The date was something the 20-something of January, and it was announced as the 20-something of January 2020. And I said to Sam, wait, put this one off, or this is from last year. And he went, no, it's not. It's from like an hour ago. I went, no, it's not. It's just said 2020. Anyway, we let it play. It's like, no, it was from this year.
It was so easy done. But I suppose I'm not writing dates on the board or anything like that. It's such a big adjustment.
It's weird, isn't it, at the moment?
So with my role at the moment, I am on a very slow phased return and just still working from home. And Jane, you're on your part-time few days a week.
Yeah, we're still open. We've still got kids in. And I suppose the good thing from my point of view is because I do a lot of admin work, I am having to write the date quite often. So far, 21 is being all the way through. I've not made any boob on that just yet.
Well, last week's show, thank everybody for your wonderful feedback. Wasn't Jim Caucus amazing?
Oh, he's such a darling. Love him to bits.
Absolutely. So just a reminder, if you haven't heard that show in its entirety, please pop back to last week's show, number 348, or you may even want to consider to hear everything, apart from the erms, which I removed, over on our Patreon channel, patreon.com/Disney Dream Girls. So that's something for you to consider. So, Jen, we have some little bits of Disney news, and I'm going to start with something that's making me a little bit meh.
Okay.
So, I am now, I gather, a legacy pass holder.
Right, okay. What does this then mean? I saw this very briefly a few hours ago, so explain to me.
Well, basically, if you held a valid annual passport when the parks closed, which I did, I am now classed as a legacy pass holder. And bless Disney, they've put in lots of perks and discounts and things that will last until the new membership options are put in place.
Right, do we have any idea of when the new membership options are coming yet? Or have they not announced that?
Not yet, no. But
no, okay.
I don't know if you failed to notice this. Not all of their pass holders live within a few mile radius of the park. I am 5,000 miles away, and it would be quite tricky for me at this moment to take them up on that 30% discount. So it would be really nice if perhaps annual pass holders could perhaps get that discount on the website from the Disney store so I can actually take advantage of it, because at the moment there's no point me having it.
I was going to say, and not just for the fact that obviously there's international people like yourself, Michelle, that will have these passes, but also if you're to the side of the US or you're in Canada or something like that and you've got an annual pass, then again, you're not going to be able to just jump on down to Disneyland to take advantage of downtown Disney, are you?
Or what if you just do not feel that you want to leave your home? Maybe you're shielding for a particular reason. You know, come on, Disney, give us that 30%, please. That's my gripe. That's my gripe. That's all I want to say. I'm griping.
Okay, all right then, all right. And I'm with you. I'm with you.
Thank you. Solidarity there, sister. Solidarity. I have some better merch news though.
Oh, okay.
Our good friend Harvey's have done a good one, and they've brought out a new range of mini handbags, but they're not mini as in small, they're mini as in Harvey's. Now, you all must know that I've got a big, massive affinity with the Harvey brand. You know, they make their bags out of seat belts. You know, not the dirty ones that have been in a car, but brand new ones. They're printed, they're colourful, they're bright, they weave together. The bags are quite difficult to destroy. They are so long wearing. They are so distinctive, and to me, they're worth every single penny. Well, on their website, they've got a whole range of new ones, and there's so many that are so cute. There's one called Puppy Love, which is so cute if you like your puppies. There's a heart one. They've even started doing some bears as well, because obviously they've realised, that's another merchandise avenue that we can go down. And there's one that I am absolutely loving. It's a mini messenger Disney mini, lots of dots, and it's got red dots and it's got yellow, it's got polka dots in pink and white. It's so cute. $144, which I didn't think was ridiculous really for a bag of that quality.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of other designer brands that are significantly more than that.
Yeah. My lovely friend Lena Allison sent me a message at the weekend saying that she was at Downtown Disney and she'd bought the latest Dooney and Bourke. And yes, Dooney and Bourke are delightful bags, but they are very, very pricey. I suppose with the 30% discount, it does sort of make ththings a little bit more bearable at the moment. But again, that's if you're able to get into the theme park to get the bag.
It is indeed, isn't it? And I think, I've looked over Dooney and Bourke's. I'm not quite the handbag hoarder, if that's the right phrase, that you are, Michelle. But I've stood and looked at Dooney.
I'm not going with hoarder, Jane. I think collector.
Collector,
I don't have visions of piles up to my ceiling and bags of cat excrement in the corner. That's what I imagine a hoarder to be like.
To be fair, Michelle, you're very good because you buy you buy the lovely handbags that are out there, and I do see you using them. Whereas I'm terrible. I buy a handbag and then I use it to death before I move on to the next one. I'm not very good at interchanging. I'm a bit rubbish like that. So whenever I look to buy a handbag, I do look at the longevity of it. So something like a Harvey's that like you say is going to be really long lasting and hard wearing really appeal to me. And when I've looked at the Doonies before, I love them to bits, but because those price tags are so high, for me it's like, am I going to get enough wear out of it? Am I going to use it? Is it the right shape? It's got to be more than just prettiness. It's got to be, does it fit my aesthetic, and does it fit what I need a handbag to do for me? Because if I'm going to use it, I'm going to use it until it's done with. So it does make it a bit more of a debatable purchase, shall we say. So something like the Harveys, I quite like the idea of, because they come across a bit more gutsy, a bit more hard wearing.
Yeah. Do you have any news for us this week, Janie?
Not a lot, darling. No, I'm afraid.
I've got some news about Disneyland Paris.
Why? What are they up to? Because they're not open yet, are they?
They're not, lovely. No, they're not planning to reopen until 2nd of April at the earliest.
Right.
But the World of Disney has been opening for guests to shop the store on select days.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was open through December, and the store at Disney Village is going to be opening again for guests to shop through weekends to the middle of February. So if you're in the vicinity and fancy a little bit of a shop, why not pop on down? And if you have an annual pass, you can get your discount. And there are some items, I'm guessing the Christmas season things, that they're going to be discounting. So with your annual pass and that sale, you can get some pretty good bargains and no doubt put onto eBay and make yourself lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm being cynical at all about the latest Stitch release, where I'm seeing people charging $140 for the Stitch they paid $35 for.
No, that's not in the spirit, is it?
Make back what it cost you. Make back $10. Make a little bit, yeah, but don't be greedy. Last year, the Minnie Mouse main event, the Space Mountain bag is now fetching, can you believe this, an $80 bag is fetching nearly $1,000.
That's ridiculous.
Plastic.
It's not worth it, is it, at all?
No. For $1,000, I would much rather go and buy a Mulberry designer bag.
Well, I'm going to say, if you've got that amount of money to spare, isn't it? But I think it's not cricket, is it? When you're playing up to people who want to have that full collection or whatever, and you're playing into their hands, and it's taking advantage, I think, is probably the best way to describe it.
And while I'm talking about Disneyland Paris, when they do reopen, you will be able to book a fast pass using the Disneyland Paris app for many attractions in Disneyland Park and Walt Disney Studios. It's a free service.
Okay.
It's on the official Disneyland Paris app. So you get a 30-minute slot to go back. So just a top reminder, why don't you make sure you've got it on your phone now? Download it, have a little play with it, and then you're all set for when you're able to go back to DLP.
Yeah, I have that on my phone. I'll be having a look at that later and seeing what it's changed to.
Fantastic stuff. Do you have any history for us, Jane?
I do have a little bit of history for us, Michelle, yes. Let's go back in time to 1956. Before you and I were mere twinkles in anybody's eye, I would think.
I think it's well before a twinkle, 1956. I think my mum and dad would have only been young bairns themselves.
That's funny, actually, you say bairns, because that's the same expression that my family used as well, which is a very northern expression to use, isn't it? But anyway, we digress. So, unfortunately, on this day in 1956, A.A. Milne passed away aged 74. So, obviously, A.A. Milne is famous for Winnie the Pooh and all of those little stories. So, what I hadn't realised was that he had unfortunately had a stroke a few years earlier and had to have brain surgery. So he was in the latter part of his life, unfortunately, not in a particularly nice state. But Winnie the Pooh, I hadn't realised, actually first appeared in the London Evening News back in 1925 in a story called The Wrong Sort of Bees. And then it was about a year later that he actually published the Winnie the Pooh books over the next few years. But when he died, the rights were left to his widow. She actually sold the character rights to a guy called Stephen Schlesinger. It was then his widow that actually sold the rights to the characters onto the Walt Disney Company. So it's like, I didn't realise how far removed it was actually from A.A. Milne that it actually got to be a Disney property, which I thought was quite interesting.
Top fact there, Jane. Thank you.
And then we're going to move on to 1992. And I'm going to say to you, I'm going to give you a name and see if it means anything to you. Okay? Professor Barnaby Owl.
Is that something to do with Winnie the Pooh?
No.
Barnaby Owl?
Oh,
go on then. No idea, love.
So, Professor Barnaby Owl's photographic art studio opened at the end of Splash Mountain at Disneyland. But what I didn't realise was it was the first time that a Disney park attraction took photos of guests as they rode them. In 1992. So, yeah, there you go. I thought that was interesting because, you're so used to attraction photos being taken, aren't you, that you don't actually give any mind to how many rides have them and when it all first started. So there you go. 1992, True. Splash Mountain, Disneyland. And then just one last little thing. So 2008, which I think we talked about on our Disney quiz the other week, because this was the year of a million dreams, 2008. So this is the year that we had random winners to choose, who were able to go and spend a night inside the Disneyland park. This is when they could stay in the apartment known as the Dream Suite, which was originally conceived by Walt Disney and was in the former location of Disney Gallery. So yeah, so every night throughout 2008, there was winners able to go and stay inside the park. How cool is that?
That is utterly cool, and I would have so wished to have done that. But my question is if they did it every single night, if you're going to get the opportunity to do something like that, you'd want to be in that room for every minute, every second to make the most out of it, because it's not like you're going to ever get the chance to do it again. So how did they actually shoo people out of the room, clean the room and get the next lot in? It just, yeah.
That'd be really interesting to find out, wouldn't it? The logistics of how did that actually work? Because was it a case of you could only enter the room at, 6 o'clock in the evening and you had to be out by 8 o'clock the following morning or something? I don't know. There must have been a time scale on it, surely, yeah.
It'd be awesome to speak to somebody who did that.
Oh my goodness, yeah. See if it was actually as amazing as we all think, or perhaps it was maybe a little bit spooky because there's nobody else around. I don't know.
Well, from what I have read about it, I do know that people were in the parks as security to make sure people just didn't wander off and go, and it's a small world.
Can you imagine trying to having the whole park to yourself and trying to see if you can get the rides to work?
What would be the creepiest ride in the Magic Kingdom to ride on at night if you were able to? Just total digression there, Jane.
It's a small world. Because can you imagine if the lights weren't on and all those little dolls there's looking at you? And if
So
can,
weird.
can you? But if you imagine if they were moving, but there was no lights and there was no music, but you just got that click clack of all the animatronics moving, that would be well spooky.
You see, I'd want to go on Splash Mountain, but get off the boat and go on to the sort of like, you know, when you go down to the bottom and there's the sort of miniature steamboat at the end and they're all singing and dancing. I'd want to go on there and join in and have a little boogie.
The thing is, we know, Michelle, that if we were left alone in a park after hours, we would be going behind the scenes and everything, though, wouldn't we? Because we would want to see everything behind the front. We would want to know what's going on.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wouldn't we?
The hours I would spend wandering around Haunted Mansion to work out Pepper's ghost, to see the mannequins dancing around, because you do get a little bit of an insight on that when you do a backstage tour, and they do take you to see that. But yeah, there'd be so many secrets that you could sort of wheedle out. And oh my word, you know, a question like, do they keep the food overnight in big top treats? You know, can you just go and help yourself to biscuits? Sorry, cookies.
That, you know what, I was going to say there must be a food angle in here somewhere, Michelle. I was thinking, well, all the fresh food, they're going to have to move away, aren't they? But anything that's packaged, surely, you know, will stay out until it's reached its best by date.
Yeah. Or I could go get a big basin and fill it with Dole Whip and take it back and eat that Dole Whip in the hot tub in the Dream Suite.
What about ice cream? Sorry, we are digressing now, but I'm just thinking ice cream must surely stay in its frozen containers. That'd be all right, wouldn't it? We could get some of that.
But I am going to hark back to a trip I had in the past where myself, Kat and Lewis were in the park very, very late. We'd paid extra for one of those special events where you could stay late, and we were the only people up at the castle, and we were being very quiet, and we were surrounded by one or two little critters on the floor scurrying around, and that would make me more scared rather than any ghosts and ghoulies eaten to death by cockroaches.
Yeah, well, I suppose there's always a risk, isn't it, of anything anywhere like that. And there used to be like families of cats and things, wasn't there, that roamed around? So yeah.
I wonder what's happening with the cats of Disneyland. That's you know, is someone still going out and making sure that they're fed every day, because they're now not going to be able to live on theme park trash.
No, it's no, there you go. That's something to investigate, isn't it?
People, we have questions and we demand an answer.
Aren't we supposed to provide the answers, Michelle?
Not always, because we don't know everything, Jane.
Absolutely you don't. There's always something to learn about Disney. You know, always something to learn.
That's why we go to the wonderful people like Jim Carcass,
definitely,
Len Tester, Seth Kubersky. We ask our expert friends and they come up with wonderful answers for us.
We have friends in high places.
We do. We do indeed. And I have posed a very nice question for Mr. Tester, and he will be replying to me very shortly, so I'm going to say no more about that one. But I am going to talk about me watching films and staying awake.
You're doing very well, Michelle, and I'm very impressed that you are staying awake.
Do you know what? You won't believe the fact I've watched nearly 30 Marvel films.
Oh my goodness.
I started at Iron Man.
Yeah.
And I went through in time order, although technically I did go back to Incredible Hulk after watching a few of the other ones, because basically Kieran said don't watch it, you won't like it. And to be honest, my favourite Incredible Hulk was the one TV show that we watched on a Saturday tea time in the UK.
Yeah.
And I just loved the theme music at the beginning, where it sort of gave his little story about how it was an accident in the lab, and he wore that, was it a camel coloured sort of beige windbreaker?
Yes, it was.
You see, you can picture it. So at the moment, where have I got to? Last night I watched Thor Ragnarok. So I'm up to
okay.
October 2017, which is the 35th film in the season, but I haven't
Wow.
seen everything because I haven't watched some of the sub-seasons like Inhumans or Defenders or
Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. However, I have watched Agent Carter up to season 2 and I've just started season 2, so I sort of multitask on different things. And I must say, my least favourite so far have been all the films with Thor in.
Oh, okay.
I know. I just haven't enjoyed them at all. I do think that the humour in Ragnarok particularly was, very, very adult at times. Very sort of a lot of double entendres and things like that. My favourite, though, and I didn't think it would be my favourite, Ant-Man.
I know. Cool, isn't it?
I loved Ant-Man.
I love
And
Paul Rudd. Fantastic. Yeah.
so good. And surprisingly, and I don't really like Robert Downey Jr., I did enjoy Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it was the humour with the music and everything. I am enjoying his participation. I even went over to the Universal side, Sony side, and watched Spider-Man Homecoming.
We sat and watched Far From Home just recently, and they seem to be doing a really good job with the the current versions of the Spider-Man. I was really impressed with those.
So I think this evening will be Black Panther. So I'm quite looking forward to that because he's already popped up in one of the films I've watched earlier. So very exciting. So that's a slight digression about how I am staying awake watching Marvel films. And to be quite honest, I am glad I didn't go and spend the last 16 years or whatever going to the cinema because I'm enjoying them now during lockdown.
It's very true, and saving yourself some money as well, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. Making myself have something to do because, let's be honest, we're only allowed out to do a bit of exercise and essential shopping each day, so I need something to fill my time on an evening. So, Jane, we are going to now have a little bit of a feature, I believe, because we're going to talk about some hidden details in the theme parks. You've taken on the realm of Walt Disney World, and I said I'm going to do the realm of Disneyland. Is that right?
Yes, well, I've kind of concentrated on Magic Kingdom because I thought otherwise I could be running around like a headless chicken trying to come up with all sorts of things.
Go on then, off you go. Give me a chance to rest my voice for a moment.
I've kind of gone on the basis of when you're wandering around any of the theme parks, it's very easy to just look at things at eye level rather than looking down and looking up. I always think it's a good idea to look down and look up. So, I mean, we know that there's very obvious things like, look up when you're walking down Main Street and take in all the windows because, I mean, I've got a little book all about the history of the meanings behind all the windows on Main Street. I think we all know about those to keep an eye out and look out for. But I think it's kind of that element of don't just look at the end of your nose sort of thing. Take a little bit of time to absorb your surroundings and you might be surprised at what you find and what you see. And I think what always gets me with these ones, Michelle, when we talk about these things, is that this is the quintessential extra bit of detail that Disney goes to that other theme parks don't seem to do. And it helps set Disney above the rest and just explain why we all kind of fall in love and love them so much because of these tiny little details that maybe majority of people don't actually notice, but the likes of you and I and lots of our friends do. So I think that's probably why we kind of get drawn to these little daft little things. The first one I'm going to go for is around the tangled bathrooms, look down, and what do you see in the pathway? But you see the hoof prints of Maximus the horse. And you know that his hoof prints because the horseshoe imprint that's been left behind actually has his name, Maximus, in it. And the tangled bathrooms are everybody's favourite because they're such a beautiful area and it's so nicely done. And then just have that extra bit of detail by looking down and go, oh, look, that's where Maximus has been. Because obviously Maximus will have walked through there to have left those hoof prints, won't he?
Oh, I love details like that. And since you're mentioning toilets, I'll go down the same realm.
Okay.
And I love it that the bathrooms are so beautifully themed, and it's just the little details like the sign for the toilet door for man and woman, and it brings in the sort of area that you're in. And one of my favourite is the Jessica Rabbit bathroom sign in Toontown, where she's there in her, very sultry, shapely self in a pink coverall. She's holding a spanner. She's got a baseball cap on, and it says women underneath. I just think that is ace.
Very sassy.
Very sassy, but across all of Disneyland you can go and see all these lovely toilet signs that has men and women, and the number of ones that I have taken pictures of and kept in my phone just for my amusement. I just think it's a little layer of detail that helps to put you into the story.
Yeah, I've seen them at Halloween where they use the pumpkins and carve out the pumpkins for the toilet signs as well. Am I remembering that correctly? I think I am. Another one to look up.
Go on, what else is your next one then?
Right, well, we're still looking down at our feet because you need to watch where you're walking. And this time we're over in Storybook Circus at Dumbo. And there's elephant footprints in the pavement, which is great. So obviously the elephants on parade, there they are, wandering around. But then the little hidden gem is that there's peanuts in the pavement as well. And it's like, you know what? The footprints, yeah, we know Disney do these things, but then to put peanuts in as well. That's just like, I would say the icing on the cake, but it's the peanut on the pavement, isn't it?
Yeah, no, love it. Love it. Go on then, give us another one.
And again, I'm going to keep looking at the floor. I'm going to save the looking up to last, but looking at the floor to bring a little bit of food into it. So, class restaurant, Tony's Town Square. Mm-hmm. Yeah, based on, or there to represent the film Lady and the Tramp. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And outside you have the paw prints of Lady and Tramp inside a heart in the cement, as you see from the film, from the Bella Notte scene, their song scene, their spaghetti eating mushiness type scene. So I think that's really sweet. Again, it's like you don't have to put them there, but they're there.
Yeah.
And if you know they're there, then you go and take your photo with them, don't you? And everybody's going, why are they taking a photo of the floor? Well, because you need to look at the floor and see what's actually there.
Awesomeness. Sometimes in Disney queues, they actually use real life props from the movies. And I could think of no bigger real life prop from the movie than the German truck used in the chase scene from Indiana Jones, The Raiders of the Lost Ark. In the queue scene for the particular attraction, as you're coming out, you'll see the actual vehicle that they used. And if you look closely, there's some sort of levers on the front, and they have something that looks like a golf ball on the top with lots of divots. That actually isn't original, is the golf ball, believe it or not, but they were put there to help the stuntmen to hold on when they were filming the scenes, and they're actually on the vehicle in the queue. And I think it's a really nice little nod, and it's a little detail that you wouldn't realise. You just think, oh, it's another prop, but actually this was in the film.
Cool.
I go past and thinking, Harrison Ford touched this. Harrison Ford, it just makes me go all flushed.
So therefore, if you touch that, then you've touched Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
So many degrees separation and all that, isn't it?
But yeah. I think the best detail I'm going to save to the very last, Jane, is that in Disneyland you can actually, if you're lucky enough, if it's available, book a tour, and in that tour it takes you into Walt's apartment above a firehouse, and to be able to stand in Walt's space was an amazing experience, to see his kitchen, to see where his sofa was, to see the lamp that is always on, and then we were allowed to peek round to the bathroom, and it just blew my mind. And it was you get this impression that it was a big space. It really, really wasn't. And it just gives you a wonderful insight. And for me, the fact that it's still there is wonderful. It really, really is. It's not been turned over into storage space. They're not storing, any guide maps or anything like that. They are keeping the place as intact as they possibly can, and allowing some people with the docent's approval to go and have a look round in a respectful manner. And for me as a fan to be able to do that was tremendous.
Well, you're literally walking in Walt's footsteps, aren't you? So
You are indeed. Right, Jane, I think we are going to wrap up this week's show. We are going to do a little bit more chat about trip planning next week because we do have a fair few friends that are planning a trip in the next few weeks. So we'll chat about that on next week's show. Keeping this one a little bit short, around about 30 minutes this week, because I'm kind of worried my voice might not last much longer. I am getting quite croaky at the moment. So if you want to find out more about us, why not consider joining in with the Disney Dream Girls podcast family over on Facebook. It's a small, select little group. We do ask you to answer some questions, to agree to some rules, but we share our Disney life on there, and members are invited every week to join us in a Disney quiz on a Sunday, and that's always a lot of fun, just to check in with people, say hi, and have a little bit of a giggle.
Yeah.
You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at DisDreamGirls, and you can also catch past shows on your favourite podcast catching app. But until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.